Welcome back to the Gen Xperience. I'm Victor, and I was there. I was there when a simple road trip might mean staying at one of the gloriously radiant Holiday Inns. And if you were lucky, one with a holodome. Now hold on, I got my own Holiday Inn right here. Now, my Holiday Inn does not come with a holodome, sadly. Now, if you don't know what a holodome is, maybe you guys should get started without me, because I've got a lot of work here to do to get ready for the grand finale, which you don't want to miss. So click that like and start your road trip to a Gen X original. This is Holidome.
Sorry, we never got your reservation. Surprise!
After an unfortunate road trip to DC with his family, future hotel pioneer Kemmons Wilson partnered with a draftsman to design what he thought was the perfect hotel space, and surprisingly, much of what he designed has become standard to this day. Maybe we should rethink that size thing since we've all gotten a little bit bigger since then. The draftsman, watching a Bing Crosby movie while working, penciled in the name of the film at the top of the plans. The movie was Holiday Inn, and the name just stuck. The 50s were the heyday of family vacations, roadside attractions, and car travel, not to mention conformity and inequality. People loved their cars and going places, but instead of going across the country to a tropical destination, why not just stop at a nearby Holiday Inn? You know, since a roadside hotel is practically indistinguishable from an island paradise. Holiday Inn revolutionized an otherwise lackluster industry. Besides room size standards, there were in-room TV and phones, pools and restaurants in every hotel, and get this, ice machines. I know. Can you believe it? There were 4 Holiday Inns by 1953, but Kemmons' dream of 400 hotels, only a day's drive from one another, was going to take other people's money. So in 1954, the first franchise location opened, and there were 2 openings of Holiday Inn every week by 1962. Holiday Inn was a mid-century modern invention and fixture. By this time, Kemmons had already invented the first central reservation system for hospitality with IBM. He called it, wait for it, the Holodex. You know, like Rolodex. But the biggest changes were yet to come. The plan was every 20 years to renovate or innovate. Many of the original hotels had a U-shaped building design, and it seemed a no-brainer to enclose that area to allow for a variety of recreational activities under one roof. It also solved the problem of pools that would go unused for 8 months of the year in northern states. Indoor pools, some recreation, even business centers seem common today, but were once considered luxuries. One of the first hotel chains in the country to bring these comforts and conveniences to the masses was Holiday Inn. But faxing clients between jackknifes off the diving board was only scratching the surface. Beginning in the 1970s, just in time for Gen X kids, Holiday Inn was looking to reinvent their hotel and further cater to the traveling families and business clientele. You could stop at a Holiday Inn at that time and do everything. They had hairdressers, restaurants, gas stations, so indoor entertainment made sense too. Now, if they'd just thrown in some shopping, it would have been a mall with nightly rates. The idea was a self-contained vacation. Introducing the Holiday Inn Holidome, a climate-controlled indoor space that housed everything from tiki bars to shuffleboard. Instead of going far for a highfalutin exotic vacation, vacationers had to look no further than their own backyard. When you had no real plan of where to go, the Holiday Inn was the vacation. Changing course from the original lame-ass name, Fun Domes, the Holidome was a foray into an all-inclusive resort before that phrase was even commonplace. Each one was designed different and included various activities where no two were alike. During the 70s, with the oil crisis, having a full-service hotel to call home for an extended stay was a cost-effective vacation that made everybody happy. I mean, what parent didn't want a tiki bar and a monogrammed ashtray at arm's reach while monitoring the kids in the pool or playing mini golf? The Holidome was completely separate from the lobby and the hotel restaurant, which could have had their own entertainment, but with a lounge and a snack bar in the dome, you now had choices. Holidomes began sprouting up all around the country in the disco decade, and with carpets and walls to prove it. It wasn't long before franchise owners quickly turned it into a competition. With creative freedoms comes great pride in design, and the more unique, the more attractive to would-be guests. It was a mini vacation for the family, and the large open space made it a great venue for business events, class reunions, and even proms. I don't know, I was always kind of partial to prom at the gym. The ability to hold these types of activities transformed Holiday Inn into a destination instead of another hotel for travelers just to rest their head. This is how they were marketed, and that's what we remember them most as. Although the holidomes were popular in colder states, Holiday Inn's most popular holidomes were in Florida due to the rains that can just pour for a whole week. They were a bit of a vacation insurance for a lot of people. As a kid, the flashing sequential blinking lights of the Great Sign were the draw. Mesmerized by the monolith of neon with bright radiating star, you just knew there was something not to miss. A beacon for the weary traveler as they exited the highway, Holiday Inns were everywhere. But we were fortunate to have one in our hometown with all the fantastic Holidome accoutrements. On 2 different occasions, my parents booked a night stay and had the entire family over for the evening. It may have been a date night for them, but for at least a few hours, we got the resort experience. Opening their sliding door did not lead to a balcony, but a first-floor walkout into the vast space of seemingly limitless recreation. An arcade, the snack bar, the playground, the pool, the ping pong, the mini golf, all ours. And we could even invite a friend. Holidomes were not the Thunderdome. They were exciting and safe, but my recollection always comes with a memory of a cracked sternum and a late trip to the walk-in clinic to top an evening of revelry. Never slide down a metal twisty slide in wet swim trunks, even at a magical Holidome, but that's a whole other story. Leisure travel now is much more global. You once piled in your car and went somewhere, anywhere, perhaps not far, and the Holiday Inn was an ideal destination. But then air travel became more affordable. Even the rise of discount airlines and packages encouraged people to travel further. People still wanted a fun fantasy road trip, but their tastes were evolving, and that was just part of the problem. Holidomes were expensive. The humidity from the indoor pools would make the inner courtyard-facing rooms damp and stuffy. Insuring holidomes also became more and more costly, and the entire concept was holodoomed. Well, folks, I don't think I'm doomed. I've got the hotel right here. We see the restaurant and the door, as well as the Great Sign. But I got a lot of work to do still, so why don't you go ahead, finish the show, and I'll be back at the end to give you a personal tour. Hey, don't forget to click the like and the subscribe to have more of these kind of shenanigans. Many holidomes had built-in skylights that let the light flow freely throughout the entertainment space. At night, the holodome was magical. Moonlight reflecting off the pool and the gaslit lanterns that illuminated the space made it both dreamy and surreal. Inevitably, the humidity coming from the heated pool would also damage parts of the ceiling, making it too much to repair. The ceiling, alongside other factors, resulted in its downfall. Holidomes like this and so many others were sold in the 80s, and the new investors chose not to keep up the maintenance. It was just as easy to demolish and still keep a hotel, so if they weren't turned to convention spaces, an empty lot may be their fate. More and more holidomes faced a similar ending, and by the 90s they were completely out of style. Updating design elements is also not cheap and didn't seem worth it. The entertainment structures may not have stood the test of time, but those of us who remember having free reign within their enchanting walls will think of them fondly. The holidomes were a new dimension of what Holiday Inn had become, about the family. But family dynamics are very complex, and as the family unit changes, so do local pleasure escapes. There are places like the Great Wolf Lodge who focus on activities, even if only swimming. But no one bemoans the loss of activities they never knew were available, like ping pong and shuffleboard, unless you grew up with that as the norm. And many of these new resorts are built near larger tourist attractions and must-see sites. So amusement getaways are more connected to shopping now and less about luxury or amenities of an overnight stay. Your destination is rarely the hotel, so you spend very little time there, and instead, with all of the distractions in the local area. People still want fun and games, just not necessarily at a domed roadside hotel. Holiday Inn comes from an era of branding. Oh, and businesses brand today for sure, but generally stay away from ashtrays and matches. But they had brochures and drink sticks and napkins with their logo. The star imagery was instantly recognizable and on everything. But the short-lived modern logo of a stylized star did nothing to keep the love for the dying brand. Once they had great marketing and promos and tons of merchandise, but those decades have passed, and we are left with a bland shell of a typical hotel with no defining features or uniqueness. The changes are no different than so many others today. Nothing is inclusive, and a lot of conveniences once part of a hotel are no longer available or expected. Well, at least I still have a Holiday Inn sans Holidome, but this awesome playset from 1974's Play School's Familiar Places reminds me of the one I had when I was a kid, which I did. So I'm going to give you a little tour of this Holiday Inn, and you can kind of get that feeling of the old mid-century modern roadside hotel experience. Enjoy. where are they now? Are there any holodomes left? I do know there are intact holodomes out there, but they just live outside the Holiday Inn brand and have minimal offerings and low excitement. My hometown Holidome was downsized with each new owner into a simple pool area and jacuzzi tub in an otherwise oversized, depressing waste of space. Other resort chains and companies have bought these properties and rethemed the space for modern purposes. Some hotels, like one in Frankenmuth, Michigan, has taken inspiration from the Holidome and created their own entertainment space. It has the open-air pool, arcade, putt-putt, restaurants, all in one area. So perhaps there are those who can make it work. But the days where this was the norm and not the exception live only in the Gen Xperience. Except one, the Holiday Inn St. Louis West at Six Flags. Like a page from the Great Wolf Lodge, this Holiday Inn, with Holidome still intact, sits right next to an amusement park. So if you're in the mood for some holdovers from the mid-century road trip diversions, you can hop a plane and spend some time at the only remaining Holidome in existence, and catch a few roller coasters while you're in town. I know I would. I miss the all-inclusive Tiki Bar Recreation Area era, where the original travel status was getting a room with sliding doors that opened right out to the pool area of a Holidome. One could only be so lucky as a kid. It's a Gen X thing. Did you visit a Holidome? Was staying at a Holiday Inn a special occasion? Wouldn't it be nice to have all of those conveniences and amenities once again under one roof, existing outside of the exorbitantly priced Sandals Beach Resort? Let me know your thoughts on the Holidome or your Gen X road trip memories. Now, check out another great show in the Gen Xperience like this one. Click like and subscribe to keep the generation alive. Thanks for watching, and until next time.